Today we're going to be putting together your science notebooks. This is an example using one of my Chem 2 notebooks. You might be doing this for Chemistry Level 1, Forensic Science, Environmental Science, any science class. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is you're going to open up your notebook and we're going to label 4 pages as table of contents. So that means this first sheet of paper, we're going to do table of contents with the date on the left, page number on the right margin. We're going to do that on both sides of the first sheet of paper and of the second sheet of paper. So you should have 4 table of contents pages. Go ahead and pause the video and complete this task. The next step is going to be to number your pages. And I'd like you to number your first 20 pages. So this right side page after your table of contents is going to be page number 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Pause the video and number your first 20 pages. Once your pages are numbered, we're going to start adding in our resources. We do this using tape because tape sticks the best and lasts the longest. Glue usually leaves your page wrinkly or it just degrades and your items fall off the page. So the first thing we're going to do is tape notebook prompts to the inside cover. When you have a half sheet of paper like this, you have lots of flexibility in how you tape it. You might want to tape the 4 corners. You might just want to tape top and bottom like I'm doing here. Totally up to you. Pause the video whenever you need to if I get ahead of you and so that you can do your work. This is your notebook expectations sheet. This is a full sheet of paper, so what we're going to do is we're going to fold it in half so it's like a little mini booklet. Open it up, and we're going to tape it down to page number 1. I usually do a piece of tape close to the fold. And then some tape out on the corner. Go ahead and pause the video and tape in your notebook expectations. The next thing that goes into our notebook on page 2 is the habits of work rubric. My notebook doesn't get abused and moved around quite as much as yours does, so I'm going to be able to get away with just taping the top and bottom. It might be better for you to tape on each of the 4 corners, so go ahead and pause the video and do that if you need to. On page 3, we're going to have our CER writing tips titled Answer Questions Using CER. Page 4 will feature our polyatomic ion chart. This one is titled Names and Charges of Common Polyatomic Ions. Page 5 will have our solubility rules. Page 6 will have the activity series of metals. We're going to leave page 7 open and we can add something there later if we decide there's another reference that we'd like to use. And now we're going to add our table, periodic table. So this is another full page, so we're going to fold it in half. And the periodic table of the elements is going to go on page 8. The periodic table of ions is going to go on page 9. So make sure you have the periodic table of the elements here on page 8. We're going to tape this in like we did our expectations. And then we'll do the same for the periodic table of ions. Note that I folded it in half the other way. I like to have my folded pages open out for these reference sheets. So this one I'm going to tape down the left side of the paper. And the last important thing to do is title these. So we have the periodic table of elements. And I'm going to use a different color here for the periodic table of ions. And now on page 10, we're going to put our graph choice chart. On page 11, we will put graphing tips. I know I've gone through this quite quickly, so please remember that you can pause the video, rewind the video, you can do whatever you need so that this video goes at your pace. So right now I'm taping in my graph choice chart. And I'm taping in my graphing tips. You certainly don't need to know what all of these materials are at this point. You will by the end of the year. But they're all things that will be useful to you at some point. Now I'd like you to take a minute and go back to your table of contents, and I'd like you to fill in your table of contents. So whatever today's date is, you can put that date and then figure out how many items we just added. So I believe there are, so we have the chemistry notebook expectations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've added 10 references, so you'll want to leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines open. Date all of those for today's date, and then write what the reference is on the line and what page number it can be found on over on the right. Do not use my table of contents as an example. This is a notebook that I recycle, and therefore this material is not accurate. That's why I've taped over some of it. All right, let your teacher know if you have any questions, and happy working.